A couple of months ago, I added this bandsaw table to my drill press. And so far it's been working out all right. But there's a couple modifications I want to make it better. Actually, three. One is to the drill press itself, and two to the table. Today we're going to focus on two of them because I don't have the parts for the change to the drill press. The first thing I want to do, or the last thing I want to do, is this crank hits the table if the table were squared off. And it works the way it is, but my OCD sensibilities are destroyed by this table being crooked like this. So I want to do something different with this handle. Maybe pull it out further, or make it a angle so that I can reach it from front here and just crank from here. I'll have to think that out. The other thing I want to do is I want to do something about this insert. I don't like this insert. First of all, for multiple reasons. One, it's really for the bandsaw, so it is a big cutout in the middle, so it's not really good for that. And another reason is that it is so shallow and round that it makes it hard to make new inserts. I'm going to try to do something about this here, but I have to pull it apart first to do that. And then the third thing I want to do is I want to make a fence, and I'm going to utilize this groove here to do the fence. Okay, I'm about to mess up, I think, but what the heck. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. We'll know in just a moment. I did a little bit of research, and they say that you can route cast iron with carbide bit on your router. However you want to slow it down, and I'm going to slow it as slow as this router can go. And I'm going to cut out everything inside this black line. Now I chose it diagonal instead of squared off because this little hole right here, I wanted that to be under the piece of wood that we're going to be using. So wish me luck, I'll need it. I'm not recording this entirely because this is a slow going process, and I've only gone down maybe a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch. I have one or two more passes I need to do, but it's still going to be plenty thin. However, it'll be better than it is now, or was. And here's my insert that I'm going to be using. I'm cutting out extra on the corners so that I don't have to round over the insert ends. But a nice tight fit. It's not perfect. There's a little bit of gap here and there, but such an insignificant amount that I think it's just going to be fine. I want to go down a couple more passes, maybe 3, and we'll see what it looks like once that is done. Like I say, it's a slow going process. This is cutting metal instead of wood, so really this equipment is not designed for this particularly, but it's doing the job. Okay, I have completed what I'm going to do. I could have gone a little bit larger with this and made a bigger insert, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. This hole here is really already 2 inches, and my biggest bit is 2 inches. So I think with the insert it'll be fine. And it'll be easy to make those. I would mind going a little thicker, but that is pretty darn thin. Pretty darn thin, if you ask me. So we will stop here before I make a mistake, one that I get close to getting to. So next step is to clean up this mess, and then with all this steel shavings all over the place, and then I will make a bunch of inserts because, you know, these things don't last very long. I made a bunch of inserts, and these are little, but like I said before, I think it'll be all right. They fit in nicely right there, nice and smooth, and easy enough to get out. And I re-wax the surface, so pretty pleased with that. Now I'm going to work on my fence. Let's see how that works out. Some time ago, I made a bunch of bandsaw sleds, and I ever only used 2 of them, so I kept those. And I recently said, "What the heck am I keeping these for?" And I think this is going to be okay for the drill press stand. However, in the end, it doesn't matter that this was an old bandsaw sled or not. I'm going to pull off these runners and add a new run made out of vinyl. Alright, so I'm going to mount this as a fence right about here. And then I'll be able to move this back and forth. However, I need to make a cutout here because of the chuck. So what we could do is take a nice straight line with my ruler here, and then right there, and cut that out on the bandsaw. Alright, so here's the theory at least. We'll see how well this works out. Is that what we'll do? I got this. Now, this is going to get all tore up in the center. And that's alright. But only from here to here, alright? And if it does, it does. And if it does, and then what I will do, once it does, I will make an insert for it that I can replace. But might as well hold off for that. Then I got clamp, and then I'll just be able to clamp this in to any location. It'll be sturdy, and then there we go, and that's that. I was thinking about cutting down this surface to match the size of the drill press table a little bit better, but the more I think about it, I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm going to go ahead and probably round over these front corners, and then this project is done. This is one of those projects that expanded my horizons a bit. I never imagined I would ever cut cast iron with a router. I have been asked multiple times by people I know who want me to cut metal with my tout tools, but I'm not a big fan of the idea. But since it was a palm router, I was less worried about it. It's something that I enjoyed doing once. I'll probably never do again. It did improve the quality of this as a drill press table. I like the fact that now I have a insert that can make zero clearance, and then I can replace as I need. It's a little bit disappointing that it's so thin, but I don't think I could have gotten another millimeter out of this piece of steel here. And then I made a fence, which is something that I was wanting ever since I did this drill press table. So I think I'm gonna be pleased with this in the long haul. Sometimes we do projects that only we will notice. Good. Finally, after every woodworking project, you should always count your fingers. You end with 10. Good job.
Yeah, that looks pretty good, but now it's time to get back to real woodworking.